Hey everybody, this is Victor again, and welcome back to another video with my Ioniq 5. We've been getting a bit of a cold spell here in Philadelphia after some really nice weather, so that's given me a chance to really appreciate and to document just how amazing this heat pump has been. So I'll start a clip in the background. It shows internal temperatures in the car around 22 degrees Fahrenheit. It was Monday night, March 28th, around 10:45 p.m. I'm just using a cheap temperature gauge. I'm not even 100% sure how accurate it is, but it should give us a rough idea of how quickly this heat pump works. It's being positioned directly above the windshield defroster vent, so what we're going to be seeing real time is actually the temperature of the air coming out of the heat pump. Just for reference, I actually tested it on my 2016 Volvo XC90 about an hour before I filmed the Ioniq 5. Now that car sits in the garage, so the ambient temperature probably started closer to 50 degrees Fahrenheit. And you'll see in the left hand corner I have a table showing how long it took the Ioniq 5 to reach these air temperatures. For the Volvo, I also positioned it directly above the windshield defroster vent and set it to max defrost. Now we don't have a remote climate start since we're not signed up for the Volvo app. And since I didn't want it to idle in the garage, I basically started the car, turned everything on, and then took it out for a spin. And for reference, the Volvo took about 3.5 minutes to reach 90 degree Fahrenheit air from the heater. As you can see, the Ioniq 5 hits that 90 degree Fahrenheit mark at 1 minute and 42 seconds, which is around half the time it took my Volvo. And in my mind, I had already thought that the Volvo was relatively quick. Eventually you'll see that increased rate slowing down quite a bit, and that's likely because the car has reached the temperature that I selected through the Bluelink app. And like I said, this is all being done through the Bluelink app using the remote climate start feature. I did an overview of the Bluelink app in a previous video, and I'll put a link in the description below. But this is one aspect of the Bluelink app that I have been really happy with. It's truly beneficial and actually works perfectly for what I need. I've been using it very frequently, mainly so that my 2-year-old son isn't being put into a frigid car seat on the cold mornings. And I figured out that comfort-wise, I actually only need to turn on remote climate for about 2 minutes before I climb in with my son, who's being strapped in without a jacket. So 2 minutes is about the time that I need to just grab our things and get us out the door. And for some context, the Ioniq 5 had been sitting on the driveway for about 4 to 5 hours prior to filming. Temperatures were hovering in the 30s and then dipping into the 20s. We even got some snow while it was sitting. Now the Volvo was sitting in the garage probably for about 5 to 6 hours. And again, since it's sitting in the garage, slightly higher ambient temperatures, wasn't dealing with any of the snow or stuff like that. Now honestly, the heater probably should have made my list of favorite things about my Ioniq 5, but that video was already pretty long and temperatures have been relatively warm for the time of year, so it really wasn't at the forefront of things I was appreciating at that moment. But right now, with temperatures in the 20s and 30s for the past few days, this is definitely on the top of my list of favorite things. Now, I do want to add that I have no previous experience with a heat pump. All of our other cars have used traditional heating, and we did have a Model 3 as a rental, but that was out in Los Angeles, so we just never turned on the heat. So I would love to hear feedback and thoughts from other car owners who've had heat pumps, and I'm curious, do they work as quickly as this? I do want to go over a couple more things. You may be asking, why did I put the temperature monitor on that large defroster vent for the windshield? Well, remote climate start via Hyundai's Bluelink app actually only sends air through that large vent. It doesn't send it through the floor vents or the passenger air vents. I'm not 100% sure why. Maybe climate start is meant primarily to help with removing ice from the windshield, or maybe it's just the shortest run for the heat pump and lets the heat pump maximize efficiency instead of having to push air from the heat pump to farther distances to smaller vents all around the cabin. In any case, it works fast, and that's why I did my testing there. And again, with the Volvo, I don't have remote climate start. We're not paying for their apps. So I just jumped in, cranked up the heat to max defrost, and drove around for that test. So while on topic with the heat pump, let's take a quick look at the actual climate menu inside the infotainment system. There are estimated range readouts in multiple places on the screens, and it's based on your current heat settings. And I've seen in general around freezing temperatures, I'm looking at about a 25 to 30 mile loss in range, and that's if I'm keeping cabin temperatures around 70 degrees Fahrenheit. And that's actually not that bad. I've heard non-heat pump equipped EVs are expecting around 30% loss of range, which for me, if I didn't have the heat pump, would mean about a 75 mile loss in range. Now, if you want to save a few miles, Hyundai built in the option for driver-only heat. That means the only vents in the car getting any air would be the ones servicing the driver. And it's pretty easy to toggle it on and off, so I've actually used it pretty frequently, just depending on who's with me in the car. I think it's a really great feature. Now, if I want to go full hypermiling mode and maximize efficiency, I can turn off the climate system completely and then turn on the seat heater and the heated steering wheel. And there's no noticeable hit to the range. As you can see, when I change it, the readout doesn't change at all. And I've done this in 40 degree Fahrenheit weather. I've even tried it in 30 degree Fahrenheit weather, and it's doable. You may need to wear a warm hat, warm socks, and warm shoes if you're going for a drive longer than 15 or 20 minutes. But if you do that, you can save yourself at least 25-30 miles of range. So that actually leads us to the topic for my next video, which should be releasing in a few days. We're going to take a closer look at the all-wheel drive model's supposed ability to fully decouple or disengage the front motor for max efficiency. So if you have range anxiety, you're not sure if the all-wheel drive model is going to have enough range for you, you're considering the rear-wheel drive model, the heat pump on the all-wheel drive model could theoretically help level the playing field, or actually get it close enough to the rear-wheel drive model's total range if you're in a colder climate. And that's primarily because in the US, the rear-wheel drive models do not come with a heat pump. So that means you're going to be losing quite a bit of range when you're heating the car. So yeah, that's it for today's video. Stay tuned for the next video. Please like and subscribe if you want to get updates for the new videos. Also, I'd love to hear thoughts from all of you EV owners out there regarding your heat pump experiences or your non-heat pump experiences and how it's affected your overall range. Thanks for watching.